Hi, Ro.
Hey, what's happening?
You look great.
I'm just chilling.
I love the outfit.
I'm just, look, I checked the weather, so I knew the temperature dropped by 20 degrees from yesterday.
Yes.
So I said, let's go break out the Kente.
Thank you for welcoming us to your hometown of Houston.
Born and raised here, baby.
One thing Ro gonna have is a dashiki outfit on.
And this, of course, was custom made in Ghana, so this ain't no regular dashiki.
I love it.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. All right, what y'all doing here?
We had a panel. We partners with Google, and so we just had a great roundtable with them. And we also were on the main stage earlier talking about Native Land Pod and how we're meeting the moments and just enjoying AfroTech. Really got to connect with some amazing young Black folks doing amazing things. So it's been great.
First time here, first time at AfroTech?
Yes.
Your first?
This is not my first time at AfroTech, but it just feels good right now. Like, this is energy that we're not feeling in the country. So
right.
For them to descend on Houston in this way, something you care very deeply about.
Of course.
With all of this Black melanin magic, I'm happy.
Well, yeah, first of all, listen, there's a whole lot going on. Of course, we know upwards of 400,000 Black women who've lost their jobs. Black unemployment, especially for Black men, is much higher under Trump than it was under Biden-Harris. You see the constant efforts to defund Black America in every way. And we've always talked about this here in our group chats and personally, that this is a moment where Black folks must be unified, must be working together, and must understand how we must organize and mobilize. And conferences like this allow for the collaboration and the conversation back and forth to know who's doing what and how we can partner.
Well, I want to say to you, Roland, on that note, because something that we can celebrate you for is any place Black folks gather, Roland Martin, Unfiltered, is there. He is pulling up with his Ro-mobile. But it really does. We had a NABJ member pass away, and Ro live streamed the funeral. So it was just a moment. I don't think there's ever been a place where there's a large enough Black gathering and you have not met the moment. And I know it's exhausting. I know it's a lot of work. This setup, I don't know if the home audience can tell, but this is an expansive setup. It costs money to do this.
So let's get one of the remote cameras.
A wide
let's shoot
shot.
it from this side over here, Anthony. Anthony, get the remote camera, shoot that way people can see the whole setup.
And don't get my back.
Or
we
gonna add. So we add the new. This is an 18-foot crane we added.
Beautiful.
So let's go to that shot. Let's get a shot of the whole setup. But go ahead.
This is expensive, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah. It costs a few coins.
But you do it because you meet the moment, and I think that's why Black folks are so in debt to you, bearing witness at this time. It's a very important time for journalism, an important time for Black folks. And in our group chat, I just feel fortunate to have access to you. Anytime I want, I get to text and call Uncle Ro.
And see, y'all gotta understand.
Wait, Ro, the difference between you and Tiff is you respond.
Yes.
Let me tell you, let me tell y'all how Black the group chat is.
Y'all telling all the business. Don't have them looking for this group chat.
Angela had a Ethernet issue. She was like, Roland, I need you to give me a call. And then she was on the phone with somebody. She's like, hey, the Genius Bar just called, so I got to call you back.
You know what's crazy? I made 2 calls to Comcast and to Ro. Yeah. And Ro had a better solution than Comcast did. When I tell you that man came out and said, you might need a backup provider. They were so mad because it was a little VIP line. They were like, they told you to get a backup where? Like,
can I ask you a question, Ro? Because I think this is a question that we've been asked so many times. At this moment where we are under attack, and on every level, it feels like there's no breathing room. I'm so happy that you made a point to point out the unemployment for Black men being even higher than that of Black women. What's your advice, one, to journalists, because you are an officer with the National Association of Black Journalists, but also what is your charging order to Black folks who are feeling destitute and looking to people like you to say, what do we do to meet this moment?
So Vice President, so the race, she lost on Tuesday. And on Thursday, I was already on to the next thing. And folks were like, dude, what are you doing? I said, she lost. He won. Now, attack mode. See, what happens is, and again, when you're a student of history, I think about Frederick Douglass, Ida B. Wells Barnett. I think about all the Black newspapers. I think about Robert
Chicago
Abbott,
Defender, where you
Chicago
work.
Defender. I think about A.I. Scott, Atlanta Daily World, Charlotta Bass, Louis Martin. I think about the work that they did. These were people who, in their lifetime, were denied the right to vote. Ida B. Wells Barnett, the reason there is not a copy of her newspaper, her paper was firebombed. They blew up her office, and there was a bounty on her head, and she was still writing about lynching. So when I see folk today, with all that we have, and even though these are tough times, I go, wait a minute. This is absolutely not the moment to quit. Because if some folk before us quit, we couldn't even be sitting right here. And so I've got two of my nieces who are running around here working with my show. And then my other little niece, she's sitting over there. She just graduated from law school. She just passed the bar.
Hey, congratulations.
Chloe just passed the bar. Come on, your hair's half combed, so I'm gonna come show you. So I showed her. So the point is, so for me, get over here, shut up. Get over here. Shut up. Let me tell you what happened. Chloe was in law school, was begging me to buy her a bag. I was like, I ain't buying you nothing else. So I put on my social media, and my followers sent her some money to buy her a law bag. So what I'm trying to explain to people, okay, we know you're a Delta, we know. Here's what I explain to people. The fight is for my 9 nieces and 4 nephews. Yes. So that's how we have to be thinking and operating. And so if we're sitting here just so frustrated and so sad, then you can't focus on work. And that's what it boils down to.
But I do believe, too, that people are motivated by different things.
Yes.
Some people can get to optimism. Some folks are motivated by rage, by anger, by frustration, by wrath, in this moment. I'm trying not to
Dr. King said, King said you have to channel.
I'm telling you something.
He said channel your rage. But go ahead. Go ahead. It's a flow.
It's not flowing right now. All I was going to say was, for some people, that rage is so destructive that they can't get to anything productive. I'm one of those people. I had to repurpose the energy into something more positive and spend more time around our community members who are solving these problems every day. And some of them in the South, like where you're from here in Texas, are like, child, we've been in fascism. Y'all just now joining, not even the party, but joining, where we've been. The problem is, and I think that this is the one urging that I would have for people in the South, is to say, you had some place where you could appeal, though, for cover. That's gone. Right? It was fascism in the South, but you could appeal to the federal government, even in some degrees under some Republican administrations.
Right.
It is now being handed down from the very top. That's different.
But this is where we have to remind people, this is what happens when you check out. This is what happens when you are so frustrated. You say, well, I don't like what you did in dealing with Gaza. And that's a huge issue. But the reality is there were black people who saw what America did in partnering with the racist apartheid regime in South Africa. Yeah. And black folks said, oh, no. We're going to shut this down. That's where the boycotts came from, the economic boycotts. So to me, our folk have to understand is there's a way to shut them down. You can vote them out. What frustrates me, because y'all were talking to Gary Chambers, is Louisiana, 1/3 black. Texas, more registered, more eligible black voters in this state than any state in America. When you look at some of these other states, Georgia, 1 million black folks who didn't vote in November. 616,000 who didn't vote in North Carolina. And so we got to get folk to understand that if you check out, don't vote, you are guaranteeing they're going to be in power. I want to make it hard as hell for them to win.
Now here's
not
the
easy.
thing, and I'm not defending folks who have sat out at all, but we have to find a different approach. That approach is not working. We've been trying to shame people into voting.
No, not shaming. Not shaming.
Not you, but I'm saying that has been a tactic.
But what I want us to do though is to say, if you don't like so and so, like there's a black woman named Karen Whitsett in Detroit. She's missed 76% of her votes. Cats running against her. What I keep saying is, if we don't like somebody, primary them. Yeah. Run against them. But see, that's the other piece. There's a way. We don't have to accept that they're always going to be there. And I think a lot of times folks say, well, ain't nothing we can really do.
I think that's the part. There has to be a conversation around telling people not to get comfortable when their very elected official has gotten comfortable, to the point of Miss Karen, right? Like, if they're so comfortable and complacent, how are we going to tell the voter to move in a different way? I'm just saying the way that we have the conversation, I believe, has to shift, because all I'm watching is our results. It has not been effective.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't need anything else, but my point of privilege is I went to vote with my parents every election.
Right.
There are a lot of folks that didn't have that experience.
So
Your mama was a poll worker.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
I'm not talking about a stripper. I'm talking about at the actual ballot box.
Precinct judge.
I'm trying to make sure they clear.
She was the judge. She was the judge.
Oh, the judge. I'm sorry. Your Honor.
So I did an interview a little bit earlier, and somebody asked me about this, and I keep saying, and again, we're a technology conference, and this, I think, is a mistake that we made. We assumed that this and this can replace door-to-door. So the problem with this, if somebody says, I don't know what none of this stuff means, I can't explain it to them with the rope, with the text blast. I got to talk to them. I said, so we literally have to go back to where we are studying our precinct turnout to see who voted, who didn't, and it's public data, and go door to door. What I've said to alphas, to AKs, to deltas, let's stop having these large get out the vote campaigns. I said, no, have targeted focus where we're going to hit these 5 precincts and these 5 precincts. I've said to Prince Hall Mason, there was an event in D.C. where folk get dressed up, wearing black and white in the aprons, march. I said, where we marching? I said, I'm not getting dressed up to walk in the sun just to walk outside. There has to be a game plan here. And the National Panhellenic having the conference here in Houston Friday. I'm giving the keynote, and I'm letting them know it's a whole bunch of y'all real comfortable.
Well,
and so we've got to challenge folk and make them uncomfortable to say our people are waiting on us. Black people are saying, who can we follow? And we got to be able to point them to somebody to follow.
It's a lot of black people saying, who can we follow? But there are also a lot of black people who have checked out, to your point. And the problem is, just like you say, we can't depend on these phones to reach people. I think so many people are distracted by these phones as well. And there's been so many people with misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, flooding our timelines and our communities, trying to keep people on the sideline. So people say you can never blame the voter, or you can never blame the constituent. But I do think we have to start challenging our community to take responsibility and go and get information, because it is challenging. If you're running, Vice President Harris could not come to every single door and door knock on every single household and explain to them policy. On some level, it is up to you to make sure that you are disrupting disinformation, that you are sharing responsibly. I would also add, Ro, I love how you put on and represent for Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And yes, shout out to the Panhellenic, but there are so many people who feel disconnected from that. They're not in a Greek organization, and that says something about black elitism to them, which they feel triggered by. But, so we have to figure out how we can bridge that divide as well,
actually,
challenge them to be more curious.
It's an easy bridge. What I've said to Alpha and the other 8 is, if they never see you, they don't know you.
But also, why are we talking at people and not listening?
Yes.
I spent more time over the last several months just listening. It was hard sometimes, but I just wanted to hear where the breakdown was. We literally come to our folks and we're like, why are you only talking to black people about their buying power, they're being consumers? We do the same thing around elections. We're going to talk to the voter, not the person who has the issue, not the person that should be engaged and advocating at every level of government. I think that's another really significant breach.
But you can't listen to people if you don't create the avenues where they can talk. And so that's why I've been a huge advocate of, we got to get back to citizenship classes called City Hall 101, County Government 101, School District 101, and walk folk through the whole deal. And so
that's going to be on Black Star Network.
Well, no, look.
I like it.
Gary's doing that in Louisiana. Mm-hmm. I said, Gary, make sure y'all record it, y'all live stream it, and absolutely. But that's the stuff that I think we have to get back to. I say you can take new school, but old school stuff still work too. It still works. Y'all got to record y'all show.
But I got one quick question.
Y'all need a ride? Because the robo mobile right not there.
Yes.
We might need one. We
Just
might
walk
need
on
one.
out there and tap on the door. Deshaun will take you.
They-
Thank you.
gonna
We're about to
tase
do
us.
that
They
for
gonna
real.
tase us.
I want to ask you about your studio space in DC. It's as expansive and expensive as this set looks. You also have a wonderful studio space, and it is large enough to be able to host a town hall. When is the
Yeah.
Roland Martin town hall going to happen?
So we're working on that. I wasn't going to do an election night show next week. I am. Next Thursday, I am doing a special with Bishop Barber on white Christian nationalism. And so we're working on that. But then, yeah, we can fit about 75 to 80 people in there. So that's the next thing that we're working on. We're working on it.
Congratulations, Ro.
This is Roland Martin
Roland
Unfiltered,
Martin,
y'all.
yes, and he was one of the first people to put Angela and I both on television, and you have always poured back into the community. You don't ever want to be the only. You make avenues for all of us, so we just want to say we love you and thank
Appreciate
you
it.
for all your
Love y'all
work.
as
Turn in
well.
your essay, Ro. Bye.
Okay. Yeah, okay, there you go again. All right.